Hey everybody, and welcome back to Split Couch Games. I'm Scott.
And I'm Ben. What were you? Why'd you look behind you right there?
I turned my chair and bumped the side of my desk, and oops. Um,
Okay.
Professionals. We could totally restart, but we're not going to. Yeah. So this is Couchcast number 43. We got a action-packed episode for you guys today. Ben's coming in hot. Um,
You have
which
no
will be
freaking
fun
idea.
because I'm upset about what he's upset about, but for probably different reasons. So,
Oh, I'm upset at a lot of different things about it. So we probably agree. It's just that I'm probably angry about more of it than what you are.
probably. All right. Well, we're that's gonna be our tease for with the second thing. Before we hop into our first topic, which we're gonna talk about very briefly. I just want to say that we've reached 10,000 views on our channel for the last 28 days. It's a huge marker for us, and
Yeah,
I'm
nice big milestone.
super
We got to
excited
see
about
if
that.
we got to see if we can keep up this
Yeah.
this traction. We've fallen a little bit recently, but
Yep. I mean,
I think you just need to make another theory video for
I
Gears of
don't know
War.
why
And
that got so popular. Like it
yeah,
started getting suggested by other videos, and I don't know like what caused everyone to start searching for Gears of War theory stuff, but they
yeah.
did. Anyway, thank you guys for watching and supporting, and most of you guys who watched all of the other content are not going to watch this video, but thank you. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
anyway, and we're also at 367 subscribers right now. So
Yep.
you guys are running out of time to get us to 400 for the Overwatch video, guaranteed next month.
I feel like running out of time is
It's
not
we're
quite accurate.
running out of time. It's all over now. Anyway, we're gonna talk about Capcom DMCAing a modder. There's a modder, I forget his name, but he was doing skin mods for Street Fighter 5 and charging for them in a way. So he had a Patreon page. If you donated to the Patreon page, then you could request a skin for the game.
Yeah.
And in this instance, Ben and I both agree with Capcom that this was a reasonable DMCA takedown or cease and desist, because my main thing is that it's directly impacting their source of income from their microtransaction system. And I think that like anytime a mod directly does that, I think that the developer is 99% of the time in the right to take it down.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Ben, I think Ben's a little more okay with that than I am, but he's very not okay with the charging at all or accepting
Yeah.
donations.
Yeah. I mean, I can understand wanting to make custom skins and everything. I feel like that is okay.
Mm-hmm.
But like once you start charging for it, essentially, I mean, he's not like making the skins and then making people pay money. He's having people donate and then he takes requests. So he's basically commissioning his work out,
Mm-hmm.
which is basically the same thing as asking people to pay for him. And like I said, I think if you weren't charging for it, it would be more okay than what it is.
Yeah.
It still wouldn't be the greatest, but I feel like it would be far,
Yeah.
far less controversial. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like it's definitely being paid for the mod in any way is generally not okay. Most developers have that policy. Like Microsoft has their Xbox game content usage rules that we like use to basically okay all of our Microsoft game stuff, because they're like, here's, they put this message in there saying that it's not it's not related to any actual official property or anything like that. There's a whole list of things, but the one that you can't do is you can't require people to pay in order to see the content. Like if you make a video, you can't hide it behind a paywall. You can put advertisements on the page and make money off of it, but you can't charge directly for it, and that's makes perfect sense. Like you can't make money off of someone else's property like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I think that pretty much sums it up.
Yep. Pretty much.
Yeah. All right.
So the other topic for the video today, and I'm sure some people probably saw this coming. If not, then you don't know me very well. But it has to do with Shadow of War and the microtransactions that they recently announced. So I want to be clear about the fact that everything that I'm about to talk about is something that they like made a video for, and they were like super excited to talk about it and everything. Mm-hmm. So this isn't like some publisher demanding it be put in last minute or anything. Like, this is a feature that they started with the intent to include in their game.
Mm-hmm.
And that feature, I guess we're going to call it, is microtransactions.
Yep.
Now, Shadow of War, for those who may not have played the first game, Shadow of Mordor, is basically like a Batman Arkham game crossed with Assassin's Creed, but set in the Lord of the Rings universe.
Yep.
And the first game was very, very good. I was really, really excited for this second game until they announced this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because, as far as I can tell, the like chests that you can buy with the microtransactions are the primary, if not the only way to get gear upgrades for both yourself and your orc allies.
Yeah.
And you can buy them with in-game currency. So, you know, that part isn't an issue,
mm-hmm.
but any company that makes that not an option anymore is really just asking to be crucified by everyone.
Yeah.
But so first off, that in and of itself is an issue, if you ask me, because this is a single player game, and I know Scott is of the mind, like, you know, if you want to speed through a single player game and pay extra money to do it, then you should be able to. Fuck you, I disagree with you. On so many different levels, you should not be able to pay extra money to speed through a single player game, because that's only going to make it so that developers try to get away with this in other games. And I know, I understand that microtransactions are like a necessary evil. Like, that's something we've talked about before. Mm-hmm. But they do not belong in any way, shape, or form in a single-player game. No matter how you cut it. I don't care. And like I said, I know you are like, oh, well, you know, if you want to pay extra to speed through it. Like, no, that should not be an option. And
why,
the reason I'm saying that's why, because in instances like this, the economy, you know, is going to be, it's going to be skewed just enough to encourage purchasing those.
Sure.
The economy in the game, like, we're not talking something like Deus Ex, where they literally built the game and a month before release, the publisher was like, microtransactions. Mm-hmm. So they had to shoehorn them in. That's not what's happened here. This was the developer, clearly, from the get-go, built the game with microtransactions in mind.
Sure.
Which means the natural drop rates for the good shit are probably excruciatingly low.
Not necessarily.
So it's gonna...
So, I see what you're saying, and like that is completely one option. The other option is that because it was there from the get-go, and they could have balanced it correctly in like a way that is fair and reasonable. Like, I'm not saying that that is the case. I mean, we won't know until people actually like start playing it and let us know.
Sure.
And obviously everyone's going to like hate it because it's microtransactions and stuff. But there is a chance that because it's so early in the process, it's actually well made and like well implemented.
I don't believe that'll be the case.
I mean, I don't necessarily either, but I'm saying
there are very, very, very few instances of well placed and like well constructed microtransaction systems, and that's going across like both console and mobile releases.
Sure.
And frankly, you know, I mean, I'm of the mind that if I pay $60 for what is effectively a single player game, you just should not have microtransactions. Like, if you as a studio are looking at your game going like, man, we're not going to make enough money from this, then either A, make a better game, or B, budget better. Because
Sure.
you shouldn't make a single player game and then bank on microtransactions being what makes you profitable. And I mean, obviously as a company, like, you can't sit there and be necessarily picky about where your income is coming from. So like, if the option is there, why not take advantage of it? I understand that from a business perspective, but from the perspective of how are consumers going to react, any dimwit in the game industry knows microtransactions are not something that people like.
Yeah.
They never have been and probably never will be.
Sure.
So you can only expect a certain amount of backlash. And for me personally, their inclusion of microtransactions in the core experience of the game is enough to make me be like, nope, I'm not purchasing it. Like,
I guess
if I ever
let's,
buy the game, it's not going to be brand new. I'm going to get it used, that because I don't support that kind of thing.
So before we jump in, go any further, we should probably mention like what is actually purchasable with money and stuff. Just, I don't think we actually, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but
it's just like loot chests basically.
Well, yeah,
that unlock certain orc companions and or upgrades for you and your orc companions.
Yeah. You can get XP boosts and a couple other yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's basically gear, experience, etc. So,
yeah.
And
I mean, again, if we were talking about a game with like a major multiplayer component, then I would be more okay with this, just because typically multiplayer games require a little bit more upkeep and everything. And
isn't there a multiplayer mode of some kind?
Yes, and I'm going to get into that in a little bit.
All right.
Because that's where the real rage comes in. So when I say like a multiplayer component, I mean like something that is like completely separate from the campaign.
Okay.
Like if you have the campaign and it has no microtransactions, and then you have multiplayer and it has them, that's okay in my mind.
Well, it depends on the microtransaction, obviously. But
yeah, sure. But I mean, like, it's more understandable because a multiplayer game is something that requires a more constant upkeep. So you kind of, as a company, need that constant source of income. And again, like you said, it depends on the type of microtransactions. Like, I shouldn't be able to hop into Call of Duty, buy a I win button, and then jump into a match and press it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, microtransactions as a whole, I honestly think are only ever really okay when it comes to cosmetics.
Sure.
Or if it is dropping gear or something like that, it's dropping it essentially at a low level that you then have to sacrifice an existing piece of gear in order to make that up to the level that you want it to be or something.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Sure. Yeah.
But so the multiplayer, I don't know a whole lot about the multiplayer other than it's like a weird like base defense type of thing where your orc companions are they are a major component of that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's something like the the home base stuff in Metal Gear Solid 5, where like players come and invade and they try to loot stuff and your computer players try and stop them, or what. But your orc companions play a major role in the multiplayer.
Yeah.
Quote unquote multiplayer.
Sure.
And your orc companions can permanently die in this multiplayer. So let's say I spend $100 on microtransactions. And I get the best orc guy there is out of the, 100th box or whatever.
Yeah.
He can die and be gone forever. And on the flip side of that, if I'm not purchasing anything and I don't have the super, super good shit, all of my hard-earned manual labor guys can die and be gone forever. Because some dude over there, Money McRich Bags, fucking bought all the really good shit and just steamrolled all my guys.
And they're...
Same guys. Like, so
Yeah,
your single player character
Yeah.
has an army of orc buddies, and those orc buddies will go over to the multiplayer and like do their thing or whatever, as far as I'm understanding it, and then if they die over there, they are gone from your single player game.
Oh, okay, hold on. Let's... see. I'm just trying to figure out what this game mode is. If
Sure.
you want to keep vamping,
Vamping?
yeah, just keep talking.
Is that a weird combination of
No, it's just
like
vamping.
vaping and
No,
ranting?
vamping is like when you're just on a mic and you're just talking and keeping things interesting.
Oh. Okay.
You've never heard
I
that
don't
term
know.
before?
I've never heard that term before.
All right, well,
Clearly, you listen to more podcasts than what I do. Anyways,
apparently. Hold on. What
But
was
yeah.
the name of the game again? Shadow of War, right?
yeah.
Okay. I was looking up Shadow of Mordor. I thought that was...
No.
that was the first... Yep. Got
Yep.
it.
Anyways, but no. So, like, I think the inclusion of microtransactions in a single player game is like shitty to begin with because of the fact that the economy in the game is most likely going to be sideways. Like you said, it could very well not be. And it could just be that, getting the chests basically will turn the normal progression into easy mode, as opposed to the stupid hard normal progression into normal mode. So that is very possible. Do I personally believe it's going to turn out that way? No, because I don't have faith in WB as a developer at all. Like, they made... wait, no, that was... Did they make the Arkham games?
No.
Or were they a publisher?
Did you say Warner Brothers?
Yeah.
Publisher.
Okay.
Rocksteady made Arkham?
Well, they only made some of them.
Okay.
And I can't remember who developed the others. Anyways, it doesn't matter. That company hasn't proven to me that they are trustworthy when it comes to this type of thing. And honestly, if you ask me, announcing all of this with the amount of enthusiasm that they did is kind of a telling sign that maybe the economy is going to be trash, and they're trying to get people hyped about it so that they can maybe ignore that for a little while.
Yeah.
And the fact that they didn't look at the multiplayer mode, where apparently like your companions can permanently die, at least that's what I've read. Like, they didn't look at that and go like, this might be a problem.
Yeah.
that to me tells me that you're probably not all that concerned about the economy being balanced.
Sure. Okay. So you're right to kind of half extent. There's there's friendly matches, quote unquote friendly matches, and then there's ranked matches. The friendly matches, your orcs are not at risk. You can participate in there, and like if they die, whatever, doesn't matter. Ranked matches are where if your characters die, then they're gone forever. So it's not like
Okay, see, but that makes it even worse if you ask me then. Because that means that they have like this casual mode of like, if you want to play the multiplayer and not worry about it, then sure, fine. But if you want to be cool and if you want to play the competitive mode,
I don't think that's what they're saying though. If that's they're saying, hey, if you want to bring the intensity,
ranked implies competition.
Yeah, it's a competitive mode. Like that's what it like. It's bringing that intensity. So like,
well, yeah, but my point is that the microtransactions are gonna royally fuck the competitive mode. You've now turned the essential like pinnacle experience of your game into a pay to win.
That's not the pinnacle experience. I don't think that's the pinnacle experience. I think that is an optional experience that if you're into that intensity, if you're willing, like whether it's you're willing to put money into it or if you're willing to put hours of work into building up your armies, if you're willing to risk that, good for you. But I don't think that is the core experience that they're going for. Like,
well,
that's going to be
I'm not talking about like out of the whole game. I mean like out of their multiplayer.
I don't even think like, that's the case. I don't think that mode is meant for everyone to enjoy. I think that's only the most hardcore players who want a little extra intensity in their battles.
Okay. Whatever. I mean, that aside, that doesn't really matter. The point remains that if I buy, 100 chests because I have, unlimited money, then I can go in and steamroll you who's put like 150 hours into the game, but you haven't gotten lucky.
Sure. So I think that...
And that's fucking bullshit.
It's not great. I'm not going to lie. That is definitely not great. I will give...
There is nothing that you could possibly defend about that. That is the literal definition of pay to win.
You're not wrong. What I will want to see how like before I give a final like a final verdict on whether or not this absolutely sucks. Like I will agree that like baseline it's not good. But it's entirely possible that like if you play through the single player game, you'll like just by sheer numbers of what you gather, like you will be able to match up with anyone in the game. Like it's entirely possible that it's not a problem. Now that doesn't mean that it is a problem, or that it's not, or that it doesn't mean that it's not going to be a problem. It definitely, I can understand that. Like, it definitely sounds like it's a problem. But it is also possible that it's not. Like I'm gonna just keep saying that over and over again. That like we don't know the cost versus like what you actually get.
How can you say that it's possible that it's not a problem?
Well, what if let's just say
a literal exchange of money
hold on.
Time for power.
Okay, so what if like I don't know how much they've actually released about the multiplayer mode. Like I just looked up like a synopsis off of journalist site. What if the multiplayer mode doesn't actually take any sort of like level or gear from your orcs into account? Like
it does. That was something that they said like during their announcement thing, was that like if you want to make sure your orcs are leveled up for the multiplayer, so that they can do better and everything.
Okay, well
like,
then what
obviously
if,
not the exact phrasing, but
okay, sure, but like what if in order to actually play that mode, like your orcs have to be leveled up like to this, or like you only like certain orcs at certain levels can fight against each other. So it's not like I can't just like go in like over like completely upgraded orc versus, you know, not a complete like there's
okay, so,
there
I
are
mean,
ways to balance it.
even if there is like a you know, some sort of matchmaking system where your aggregate power level is 12 and you can only face people of 12, that doesn't make it better, because that still puts it in a situation of, I worked really hard for this, and then I go in, let's say maybe it is a fair fight, but I still happen to lose. All of my hard work is gone. Or if I win, oh, well, it doesn't really matter to that kid because he's just going to spend another $50. Like, it has nothing to do with how balanced it might be or whether or not someone can win or lose. It's the simple fact that it is a literal exchange of money for power versus time for power. And I can guarantee you that there's no way in hell that if I spend an hour grinding in the game that I'm going to get as many chests as if I were to drop $10 in microtransactions.
I mean, you might. Who knows?
I highly doubt it.
Well, I mean, like, again, we'll have to find out. Like, I feel like I said, like, I want to make this clear because I'm probably already being crucified in the comments for defending this. Like, I'm not necessarily defending it.
It sounds like you're defending it.
I understand that.
The wait and see mentality is a defense.
Sure. But I do want to wait and see because it is, like, just because it hasn't been done well in the past doesn't mean it can't be done well now. And we don't know.
I feel like it can't be, though. In what world can you ever be like, well, you can either spend a lot of time or you can pay money? How can that possibly be done well?
I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm not going to figure it out on this podcast, but people who, like,
I mean, like,
the developers have been working on the game for like 3 years.
I don't think it's possible.
Just because you don't think it's possible doesn't mean it's not possible. And, like, don't get me wrong. I don't know if I probably doubt that this game is the one that's going to get it right, but just because it hasn't been done in the past doesn't mean it can't be done well now. Like,
but I think it does.
Because
it's not a matter of, like, how it's being done as much as it is, like, the core concept of paying for progression in a multiplayer atmosphere is the problem. It has nothing to do with how balanced the game is or anything like that.
So again, like, I don't have a problem with the way that Battlefield
piss away my money in order to be just as good as someone who's spent 40 hours playing the game.
Sure. But, like, this is, in my mind, like, I personally don't have the problem that you do with Battlefield where you can unlock all the weapons with money. Because all the weapons are generally... What?
I don't have a problem with that.
You said that you had a problem with it in the past.
No.
Okay, well...
I mean, I've said that I think it's stupid and that anybody who does that is faulting themselves.
Sure.
But...
Okay, but anyway, so it doesn't... Like, it's entirely possible that this is just the same thing. It might not be. I don't, like, again, I don't know. I'm not, like, I haven't looked up, like, all the different things. And if they've, like, listed prices at all or, like, drop rates or anything like that, like, let us know in the comments. But...
Did you ever play the first game?
No.
I imagine that probably has something to do with your argument, because had you played the first game, you would understand how integral everything that they're talking about is to the core gameplay. Like, it's not as simple as, well, I mean, it's not as simple as, like, oh, well, you know, because I mean, a gun in Battlefield is just a gun.
Sure.
Like, realistically, like, the gun that you unlock at, like, level 10 is most likely the best gun, even though there's 30 after it that you can unlock.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty much how Battlefield has always worked.
Yeah.
But the simple thought of, like, oh, well, if I, you know, drop $20 I'm going to have a better chance of getting, I don't know what their ranking system is, so let's just say, like legendary is the highest. I'm going to get a couple of legendary orcs and a legendary bow for myself.
Yeah.
Versus Joe Schmo over there, who after 20 hours thinks, yeah, I'm ready for multiplayer, and then hops in and he has, weaker stuff or maybe just as equal as the guy who's only played for like 10 minutes.
Sure.
Like, again, like, the issue isn't that, like, whether or not the game itself is balanced while you are playing. That doesn't have anything to do with it. Like, the issue is that the developer allows for that shortcut. And that shortcut shouldn't be there.
I don't know. Okay, so...
Because realistically, that shortcut is going to be what gives you the winning edge, no matter how you cut it. Like, you can balance a game day and night. Unless it's literally, like, that shit turns into cosmetic bullcrap in multiplayer, there's no way to balance it. Because, like, I mean, again, like, I don't know how the gear and everything is going to work in this game. I don't know if it's going to be like, oh, you got a legendary bow, so now you can, like, do like this thing more than once every 10 seconds or something like that. Like, I don't know if they give you extra abilities or change existing abilities or anything like that. But I mean, if they do, then, or even if, like, we go so far as to say, like, there are only a certain number of weapons, but there are certain, like, levels of rolls, so that, like, oh, well, I got the best bow, but the perks on it aren't the best, so I need to keep trying.
Yeah.
Anybody with money, well, that's not going to matter.
Well, yeah, that's a whole nother argument. If it's going to be, like, super random drops like that, that'd be no bueno, period.
Yeah, but I mean, that's how I think the orcs are, specifically. Because I think you can get certain orcs that can be at a certain level, and then the orcs in the game will have certain strengths and weaknesses. And I don't know if those are specifically tied to certain orcs in these boxes or what, but I mean, I know that as you play the game, those strengths and weaknesses will change. Like if, like in the very first game, you fight some guy, let's say you lose, but you like, set him on fire during that first fight. In your second fight, like, when you come across him again, he might be afraid of fire, but he might also have a strength against stealth attacks because you tried to do that to him and failed.
Yeah.
So, those types of things change a lot on the orcs.
Sure. And
I can only imagine that that's going to be a random element of the loot boxes.
Sure. I mean, I don't know. Like, I think that you're right to be hesitant, but I think that, like, optimistically, I think they can make it work. I don't know if they will, like, by any means, but, like, I'm curious to see how it actually plays out in the game.
I don't know. I mean, when it comes to this type of thing, I don't really care if it's but we did it right. Like, unless you can sit there and explicitly tell me in the stream that's announcing it, like, hey, we're doing this, but don't worry, because we have these safeguards in place, and this will happen, and, these things, and all this kind of shit. Like, if you can explicitly tell me why this effective or, perceived pay-to-win model isn't going to be a problem, then I am immediately going to assume that it's not that, and that it is pay-to-win, and you are no longer worth my time as a developer.
Well, I mean, what they've said is that it, like, that everything that you're, like, they've said that, like, obviously everyone says that, For Honor said it and everything like that, and obviously that wasn't entirely true, is that you can earn everything that you can buy with in-game currency. The question is how...
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about... Because, I mean, like I said, any developer that comes out and says, like, oh, we have microtransactions, but there's no way for you to earn them outside of spending real money.
Mm-hmm.
Like that developer will literally just catch on fire in that instance and disappear from the face of the earth.
Sure.
Because that's like Satan level of consumer hatred right there.
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying is that they I feel like they've quote unquote addressed your issue here, where they're saying that, like, yes, you can earn it.
But that's not addressing the issue.
It could be though. Like
no, that argument at this point is more of a, but don't worry, Timmy, I have a Band-Aid. My arm's missing. Like,
but you can't say really that because you don't know. What if? Okay, no, like what if this? What?
My point is simply that you can't say, oh, but you can earn everything with in-game currency, unless you can sit there and tell me. It, like, if I'm expected to believe that fixes the problem, you should be able to sit there and tell me as a developer, like, if you're playing the game at like a normal pace, you can expect to earn these boxes at like 1 an hour or something like that. Like, you need to sit there and give me details and not give me the Band-Aid every developer says it catch-all of you can get
not, like,
it with
again,
in-game
like,
currency.
Obviously, like, they haven't given any details. They haven't given any details about how much the boxes cost. Maybe the boxes cost $100 and you get one. Who knows? Like, obviously that's not the case. But like, maybe you can earn three an hour and buying a box is $10 or something like that. Whatever the case may be, we don't know. And I think that your problem, like, because you were saying that, like, like, if I could buy like 3 boxes for $10, I forget what number you threw out there, but like, if you can earn, like, I don't know, I feel like there's a way that, like, it could happen. And, like, obviously, like, I'm probably going to you're probably going to, like, play this part, like, when I say, like, it could be working and, like, be like, Scott was wrong. And, like, I'm admitting, like, I probably am wrong because, again, people haven't been able to do it in the past. But just because it hasn't been done doesn't mean it can't be done right.
See, but, like, that's the point that I'm trying to make here, is that, like, you're saying, like, well, they could have done it right. My point is that if they firmly believed that they did it right, because anybody in game development should know, like, guys, we're going to get a bunch of shit for this. If they were creating a fair and balanced system, then they should have, out of the gate, been like, okay, this is our system, this is how it works, like, this is how many you should be able to earn just playing the game, this is how much they're going to cost, all that kind of shit. They should just lay it all on the table. Because if they don't, then they're going to get people like me and 90% of the rest of the gaming community going like, what the fuck is your problem?
Sure. But no one ever has done that in the past with microtransactions. No one's ever said, like, this is how much you can expect. Like, the closest I can think of is, like...
But I mean, like, that's the thing. It's like those other companies... They've always had pretty garbage microtransaction systems.
Well, no, I mean, like, even the good ones, like Hearthstone, League of Legends, like, they don't advertise, like, how long it's going to take or anything like that. They just say, like, hey.
Yeah, but that right there, you can't compare. You can't say Hearthstone, League of Legends. The reason you can't say Hearthstone and League of Legends compare to Shadow of Mordor is because Hearthstone and League of Legends are free to play.
Sure.
Immediately, that argument is out the window.
I mean...
Like, the only real comparison you can sit here and make are other full-priced $60 AAA games that come out and have microtransactions.
No, so... No, you're missing the point of what I said. The point of what I said is that, like, no company has ever come out and, like, said, like, this is the amount that something's going to cost with in-game currency versus the amount of something that's going to cost with money. No game has ever done that.
Yeah,
like Hearthstone or Overwatch.
Overwatch
never came out and said, like, this is how much these things are going to cost. And
well, I mean, they kind of did, because their solution was you get a loot box every time you level up.
Sure. But
Like that was their solution, and they said that, and then they said, or you can buy more loot boxes. But
I guess
also,
it's true.
Overwatch is completely cosmetic.
Sure, but again, like the point is that no one really. I mean, I guess you're right. Like they did say that at some point. I assume I didn't follow it that closely, but for the most part, they just kind of like microtransactions show up day one, and then you see what it is. Like it, they.
Yeah. But I mean,
I agree with you. Like it would be nice.
What you're saying makes sense. Like I agree with you that nobody's done that before, but that's the problem, is that
Sure.
nobody has done that before. So if I'm sitting there and I have a system that works that's not like anything else in the past, I should go like, hey, maybe I should give them details so they don't assume it's like everything else in the past.
Sure. No, I mean, I can agree with you that probably the messaging on this is not the best. Even like regardless of whether it works or not, this is probably not the way that you should go about announcing it. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I see what you're saying. I don't like. I'm mostly playing devil's advocate on the ranked play because I'm pretty sure that that's going to be fucked. Like that is really just going to turn into people like it's going to turn into like the 1% of the players who have all the money and are like, you know what, I'm just going to go basically gamble away my money, which is their prerogative. But I agree that it is a shitty system because no one's going to come in and like that's going to be really tough. I hope that they somehow manage to get that right, but it's going to be really tough. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, we're coming up on 45 minutes here, so.
We started a few minutes late, so we're just over 40 now.
The thing that I'm most upset about, and this is just a super small thing, is that I feel like it's going like the way that, because it seems like the only way to upgrade is going to be through this like loot box system.
Well, yeah, I mean,
and whether or not you pay for it.
As far as I can tell, yes. I'm sure there's probably some sort of like, oh, you completed a side quest, here's a thing.
Sure.
But yeah.
But as far as I can tell, even if you buy it with in-game currency, it's going to ruin your immersion because you're gonna have to like go to the store or whatever and buy a loot box either with in-game currency or with money.
Yeah.
And it's gonna like, and from what I can tell, like it looks like a really good, almost cinematic experience. And like I'm not gonna want to like back out of that world to buy a chest and open the chest and be like, "Rah!" Because they're gonna like have some cool particle effect where it's like, ah.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can't have people spending money and just have it go. Here's the thing. Like it has to be a really cool experience, otherwise they'll feel cheated.
Yeah.
Didn't you know?
I do know. I just that's the part that actually like from the get go upset me. I was like, but that's gonna ruin all the immersion. Like, it's gonna take you out of the game for no reason, and that really upset me.
So.
Yeah.
When it comes to this can just be like a super small thing because you're right, we are over, we need to end this, but when it comes to single player microtransactions, if like you could go to an in-game person and like purchase the microtransaction from there as if it was a normal like in-game store purchase, is that the only way you would want it done? And
no, I would want it done before you enter the game at all. Like, don't get me wrong, I would rather there not be the microtransactions. I think, like, I would rather there not be. By my position is I don't necessarily mind them because like, so if it's outside of the game, like if it's in the menu, like before you go in, like I think Deus Ex.
It's like
if
yeah.
Like that seems more fine to me because you're like in the main menu and it's like, oh, unlock some stuff before you go into the game. That offends me less than, and like if you had to like go in like this person and this person's like, hey, real money, give it to me. I'd be like, no. Like that.
Why?
Because
I would almost think the opposite, that like having an in-game character that was like, I'm gonna charge you real money, like that would almost compel me more, but like not really, because like I'm intelligent enough to be like, no, but like I would feel like having that like in-game presence.
But I think that's why I don't like it, is because it is more
trickier.
Like it's more shady.
Sneaky.
Yeah, it's like a very shady practice, because it's like, hey, buy this stuff. And then you click on it and then like brings up the Xbox store and it's like, you're already here, you might as well buy it, right? Nah.
So then what about in games like in MMOs and stuff where it's like
MMOs don't have a lot of immersion to begin with.
Well, I mean, let's just say like an MMO-esque game.
Drop my phone.
Where like maybe you don't like spend money directly on that thing, but you spend money on, you know, platinum coins or whatever, and then there's an in-game vendor for that. Is that different?
It's better. Yeah, I think that's fine. Because again, like the real world purchasing is elsewhere.
Still taking place out. Okay.
Yeah, but then like there's still the thing where it's like technically you are still spending real money, and you have to like take that into account. Like, is this something that I want to spend real money on?
Yeah.
Like,
all right. Anyways, we're getting way off topic and we've gone way over. So
I mean, it's still on topic.
Well, yeah, but now we're just kind of into like theoretical preferential treatment of our microtransaction.
Yeah. All right. So I do want to clarify before everyone leaves comments.
I feel like you should have clarified like 20 minutes ago.
I did clarify. I wanted to be like super clear that I'm not necessarily I'm not saying that like this like my Shadow of Mordor or like any other microtransactions are the greatest thing ever. It's more of a I don't care, because it like it's not going, like if I was to play this game, I probably wouldn't spend money on it, so it doesn't affect me. And I also probably wouldn't play the ranked mode where my guys could die. I don't have time for that shit. I don't.
All right.
But anyway, if you guys enjoy this podcast, leave a like. Let us know your thoughts. And yeah, let us know if you guys want us to talk about this again.
Well, maybe not this specifically.
But like
microtransactions in a different game or whatever. We've talked about it like 3 times now. So
I mean, we talked about DMCA. Let us know your thoughts on DMCA stuff. That was like good 45 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see you guys next time on Split Couch Games.
Yeah.
Bye.